Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, SCORE, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Marshall Smith, welcome to ATV Talk. This has been a long time coming, and I apologize to you for not bringing you on sooner, brother. And please make sure that you let everybody know that your wife corrected me, and she was 100% spot on. And I love it. When I'm wrong, I love it when people point it out to me, and that really got my attention to you. But welcome, sir.
Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, she's good about pointing out, when you're wrong. Most wives are. So no, but yeah, I really appreciate you asking me to be on.
Hey, again, it's my pleasure. Turn your volume up just a touch for me.
All the way.
There we go. That's what I can ask for. So we had a little brief conversation at the Legends race, round number 9. A little bit about your history. I don't think the fans got any of that because it didn't correlate over in our interview. I want to get a little bit into your history. Where did the love of ATV racing and ATVs come from?
I really didn't get into ATVs till I was about 12 years old, 49 now. But we started on dirt bikes as like a 6-7-year-old. And actually a JR50 when I was 4. And local shop saw me riding one day and tried to get my dad to let me race for him. Wouldn't do it. Just, the time and stuff that it was going to take to do it. But I've always been into stuff, dirt bikes for ATVs is one, but just fell in love with riding. And where I live at, it was just, mountain riding, trails and things like that. And as just time went on, me and a friend of mine on a July the 4th weekend decided to go over to I-81 and race. I was getting ready to turn 30. I was getting ready to turn 30-year-old and went over on a stock Honda, big tires and everything. And I raced the I-81 and I just got hooked. So I've been doing it then, started it just when I was getting ready to turn 30. So, and I just, followed the sport some and just really, Jones, Natali, those guys, obviously looked up to them, Gus, just followed it. And just the more I started watching of it, the more I loved it.
It's just it just gets in your blood, doesn't it?
Yeah. Once it's in there, it's, it's the drug you're never going to get rid of.
Well, it's the safest kind of drug I think you can
Yeah,
get into.
yeah. Very expensive one, but it's very good. Yeah,
Well, hey,
it's great.
you're spending all that money and you're not spending it on all the things you're not supposed to,
That's right. That's right.
right?
No, but I mean, I could go on, just as just around, around here, just racing around in the woods and stuff with friends and things like that. Just, you know, uh, I've just always loved racing and things. I've loved anything fast. So I
So
mean,
so let me ask you this. Your riding area is mostly what would lead to you being an XC racer, not a motocross racer. How did the transition come to be?
to be honest, I'm not a big mud fan. Uh, as I got older, now when I was young, I did, but it wasn't until you know, like I said, I was 30-year old before I started racing, but by that time, you don't want to be out in the mud and stuff. But yeah, you're right, the woods and stuff. But I always was always trying to find somewhere to make a jump, or where I'm from, there's a lot of strip mining, and where they would strip mine and build a road, we'd jump one side of the road to the other, just kind of like a short tabletop or something. But we was always looking for things like that. Most of our stuff was just, like I said, just woods and looking for just places to go build a little track, or just do something like that, race around with each other. So we was more into that than the woods riding itself.
And at 30 years old, you start your racing career. You're well into your, I would say, your career life.
Yeah.
How did all that affect, you started this love of racing and you have this career. So
Yeah.
usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had been working at a local welding shop here in Harlan for 10 years, 9, 10 years when I started racing. And obviously he wasn't a big fan of it. So, but I did it anyway and tried to be as safe as I could. Fortunately, I never had no major injuries till after I left working with that guy. But I just, it wasn't a hard balance. Obviously it was just local stuff. Didn't really get to train or anything like that. Didn't even really think about that type of stuff. I just enjoyed riding. Really didn't realize how much training got and played into your performance on track. So, it wasn't a bad transition. Then 5 years into racing, I actually switched jobs. I got a job teaching welding at a local college, and I've been there ever since. And obviously that, they're comfortable with it and everything. So I just do what I can, and I try to involve I built my own Nerf boards. I involve my students. Something, they enjoyed building something that was going to go on my quad that I was going to race with. So they enjoy it. And it helps me draw students, and being active and draw younger students into this type of stuff.
So let me ask you a couple questions away from the ATV stuff, more career based, if you don't mind, because
no, it's fine.
Developing working force for the future of our country is huge. And you seem to be dedicated to that. As far as teaching these students, this is a great angle for getting them into different kinds of work rather than just the dull drums of welding skyscrapers together, or putting fence posts together or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's funny we're having this conversation at this moment, because I was contacted today by my former employer, and before I left him, probably started around 08, 09. I tried to get him to get into the ATV side-by-side market, making bumpers, roll cages, tree kickers, that type of thing, because we have a big ATV park here in Harlan called Black Mountain ATV Park, and people come, it's full every weekend of side-by-side Jeeps and things like that. And And he always said people will pay to play. So I'm like, here is our chance, to build your business in this area and stuff. And he called me today wanting now to look at some of the equipment the school has gotten me to try to learn to build this, whatever, roll cages, bumpers, tree kickers, that type of thing. But, the students that I'm getting, they can see that there's more to it than just going and sitting in the hot sun welding all day up on a strip job or something like that in my area. You can go and you can open your own business. You can build things. You can, it's endless. I mean, truthfully, I could, if I had my own stuff and had to, I could stay busy, especially building stuff for LTRs. I could stay busy with that. And so, it is really, it's great to be able to show these young people and older people. I have students anywhere from 16 to 50. So to show them that there's a lot of things you can do without having to, go off from here. You could open up your own little shop and build things and stuff like that. So there is opportunity, and I want them to see that. I want them to see that if you put your mind to it, you can do a little bit of this stuff.
What's the draw in your area for trades like this for kids to come out and work, or younger people to get interested in? Because welding, it's not hard, but it's not easy either. I mean, there's some welding jobs that are pretty tough.
Yeah. Well, our thing here is population. We're at about 25,000 people in Harlan, but we service several counties. We're kind of where I work. So we have a good draw of, mainly our draw is probably somewhere between 18 to 25 years old, maybe up to 30. We get a lot of that. People switching careers, looking for a different job and things. So,
Are you ready for your next vacation adventure? Step into the heart of Arizona's natural splendor with a tour of Antelope Slot Canyon. Ideal for photography enthusiasts and nature lovers, our tours offer a unique journey through a landscape sculpted over millions of years. Let our expert guides lead you through the swirling sandstone. We're going to have to do it. Let our expert guides lead you through the swirling sandstone formations where every turn reveals stunning light displays, geological marvels. Secure your spot now at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and prepare to be awed by the canyon's mystical beauty. For details, please visit us at antelopeslotcanyon.com.
They're interested. That they get interested in stuff, but I think I love the fabrication side of welding rather than just going somewhere and welding something up. I love to design. I love to problem solve, so to speak. If I see a problem, I want to fix it. I want to figure out a way to fix whatever it is that's causing issues. I want to, and I tried to instill that in these students today, and it's kind of difficult. Problem solving skills is something that they're lacking, and getting them to think on their feet. You've built stuff. You've worked on the engines and things, and you know how important it is to be able to just, if you run into a problem, you can't just stop. You got to fix it and go on. And that's something we're trying to instill in the people that we teach. But we don't have industry like some places do around here, but we do have opportunity. It's just, you got to go find it.
Right. And so are you in a more of a farming community?
We're coal mining, Eastern Kentucky, okay. Southeastern Kentucky, Harlan County. Look up Bloody Harlan.
Wow.
About a coal strike in the 50s or 60s. I'm not for sure. But
so that's there's a lot of welders needed for that industry as well. Besides, I'm trying to grasp little bit of the different structures that you could have,
Oh, you could go anywhere. I mean, there's many things we could do. You could go to the mining. You could, like I say, farming. There's people with, have a friend that has his own excavating business and stuff, just doing house seats and things like that. And I could stay busy helping him. So there's always room for somebody, to venture out, and you could work a year and not do the same job. I believe if you really set your mind to it, you can have a different job every day.
Is the college that you work for a trade school, or is it a academic?
It's both. It's actually it's part of KCTCS, Kentucky Community and Technical College, and it's a 2-year college which offers AA and AAS degrees, and it's also incorporated with technical skills. So we offer welding, machine tool, which is computerized manufacturing, carpentry, HVAC, automotive, diesel technology. I can't remember. Electrical. We offer a lot of different tech style classes.
That's pretty awesome stuff. I know I did take us away from the ATV line.
That's fine. That's fine.
But you're giving back to society, and I wanted to bring that out as part of your story so everybody understood who you are as a person. You told me a little bit about it, and I wanted to draw that out of you, because people that give back to the society and to the community don't always like to have their star shined. And I just wanted to make sure that people understood who you are as a person. Now let's get back into the ATV stuff.
Okay.
Your love of racing, how did you find the Nationals?
Some friends that I met local, the Layman's brothers, Silas and Lucas. We went to Muddy Creek for the first ATV National that I ever went to in 07. I think it was 07. And I just, being there with just all quads and stuff, it was a really fun event. And never really did a full season. Just kind of did hit and miss on the ATV Nationals. But just done a lot of local. Daniel Boone was close to me. Did a lot of racing up there. A place down in Tennessee. We would drive 3 hours every other weekend, and drive it back that night. Called a place called the Mountain. Loved the track. Just a lot of it was just for the camaraderie and for the competition and just the friends and stuff that we were meeting and the impact they were having on our lives, as well as the impacts we were able to have on theirs. I wanted to mention I'm a minister also. I don't pastor a church or anything, but that's one of the things that I've always tried to be, is just a positive role model or a positive person for people, and not be, someone that would just throwing out a bunch of negativity and just throwing fits and things like that, which if you race, you're going to throw a fit.
Well, we hope not. We hope not.
Yeah.
We want to keep it as positive as possible. Growing up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it was just, I never really got into the Nationals or anything, but other than just hitting a few races here and there, we did a couple of years where we tried to do 3 or 4 close ones. The job at the time limited that, my job and plus my wife's job, because it's, it was just me and her. So it limited until we decided to do the pro thing.
What year was that?
2021. Contacted Harv Whipple in the fall of 2020. We did a race over at Muddy Creek. Of course, it rained. I know how you love that place. It rained. Yeah.
Muddy Creek?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love the track. It's not my favorite. Pell City was my favorite track ever for National, Alabama. But was over there and was just, I raced the Pro-Am, and that was the year they had what was it, Pro Unlimited or something like that on Sundays. And I was able to do that. and did pretty good. Had decent lap times with some of the guys. Just talked with a few people, Jeremiah Jones, and me and him talked 2 or 3 times a week. And I called him up and said, "Hey, we got some people saying maybe you should race pro next year. Try to race pro a couple races." So I did get in contact with Harv, AMA guy, and you know him. And he got back with me, and they approved me for my license and stuff. So first race was, like I said, 2021 at High Point.
Nice.
I was 45.
And you made a comment about next year possibly being it.
Yeah. So we had planned on this year being it, but last year I had made a mid-season change on suspension. Our good buddy Don from Dane Molander, Don had given me a set of shocks to try, and I brought them home and had Johnny Hale go through them, JH, PEPs. And I had never ridden nothing but Fox. All I'd ever ridden. And I have a small track down here in my field. And I went down there on my Foxes and got done a few laps, had my wife do some lap times. Came back up, swapped the shocks. Never had ridden spring shocks like that. Went down there and got comfortable really quick on 2 or 3 laps. I did 4 laps, and I was an average of a 1.5 to 2 seconds faster on the peps. And that was on a 1 and 5 second track. So that was a substantial gain, I felt like. And so fast forward to Pleasure Valley last year, July 4th weekend. My times, although I'm at the back, they were gaining, and I was getting more comfortable on the quad with those shocks. And I was like, just a couple of tenths of a second off instead of being a couple of seconds off. So my speed had started to progress as well. And then the last lap of the second qualifying session, I overjumped the finish line, flat landed, and broke my right heel. And when that happened, I was like, what do I do? Obviously had surgery and stuff like that. Had a lot of the doctor I first saw was like in Pennsylvania, was like, yeah, you're done. You'll never race or anything like that again. He said, even if this is fixed, you'll have major issues and stuff. You might as well give that up. I mean, he was being super negative. And my wife, she's an EMP, and she's sitting there looking at the X-rays and stuff with him. And we get out of there and stuff, and it's kind of devastating. I feel like 48-year-old, but I still feel great. I don't feel like this, but anyway, had the foot fixed and stuff, and the doctors at UK, University of Kentucky, he was great. Staff and stuff was great, and he had me back walking. I didn't walk for 15 weeks, and then started walking. 2 weeks after he released me to walk, I went and raced Muddy Creek and won. And I had people telling me you will not be able to ride your quad for 6 months. Your foot, your ankle won't handle it. But what they didn't know, I had been riding a stationary bike in my walking boot every day, trying to do something to keep even though I couldn't really move it, I could take it off and even. I would move my foot around and everything. I did not let it just sit. I was not going to let this stop me. So coming back this year.
What was the pain like taking the boot off and moving the foot?
Not bad. I've had a pretty high tolerance for pain. The actual worst pain that I had through the whole ordeal was when I broke the heel and got back up to the truck, sat down on the ground, and I went to pull my boot off, and it was hurting. And I just pulled the boot apart as much as I could and slipped it off. And that was the worst pain I felt. After that, it's not been that bad. I have a pretty high threshold for pain, but it's not been that bad. So taken me a while to rebuild my ankle. The stiffness still gets there. Calf is still a little weak, and that's been a year, which at my age, it does take longer, no matter what you do.
Right,
But
right. I mean, age plays
yeah,
a part in how your body's going to heal.
yeah, it does. And I have to, like if a couple of weeks ago, I went down and I did 2 sprint motos, just as hard as I could go. I did like a 17-minute and a 15-minute one within about an hour and a half of each other, and then came back and rode I have a regular road bike set up on a stand, rode it in the garage where it was good and hot for an hour. I had to take a full day just to not do anything and recover, but that's part of it, and I understand that. But now, as far as the foot goes, it's good. I have no issues with it.
So, as a younger man, you didn't have the same training and everything as you do now. Most of the young guys that you face, they can ride every day.
Yeah.
And you said that you can't do that.
Well, I was up until when I got hurt. I had pushed myself to where I could do some training every day. And it's right now, I'm just now getting back to where I can push myself further and further each day. It's taken me a while to do that. And truthfully, I had a doctor's appointment on the 17th of July, the year follow up with my foot. And I think him telling me, hey, you're good. I think that was a big weight lifted off my shoulders, because I put my foot through a lot. I've cased the jumps and landed on it and stuff, and I was just worried, obviously it was in the back of my head, but now I'm like, my wife told me, she said, you finally rode like yourself at Brackwell. The speed was getting better, but she said, you finally rode like yourself, like the person I'm used to seeing.
So I'm going to ask a couple personal questions, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
You've been married
21 years.
So she has been here through your love of riding and then your midlife crisis, let's say, of racing. So what did your wife say when you came out and said, I want to go race?
She's all for it. She's my pit person. She's my mechanic, so to speak. She's the one that goes to the gate with me. She learned how to pack the gate. When I had the Fox shocks, I could tell her what I wanted done, and she would adjust them. So she did she's been all for it, She wants to, we're a little old fashioned, I guess, so to speak. She is very happy when she sees something that makes me happy. And the same way with me, it's just me and her. We don't have children or anything. So we just enjoy each other's company. We do everything together. I know it's kind of odd today, but that's who we are. I wouldn't do this without her.
I like that part the most. I really
do. But yeah, she's been all for it. Obviously, she gets a little stressed out or something from time to time, but the first year I raced, we were finishing at Briarcliff on Labor Day weekend for the last race, and I think it was right near the end of the second moto, and I actually rode pretty good that weekend. But she held out the pit board sign that says "Have fun" with the smiley face on it, and that got posted a couple of times, and it meant a lot to me, though, that people paid attention to that stuff. I might be the old guy out there, but I am giving it my all. I really am. If I pull up a little bit, it's because I'm being limited by something.
Now, you mentioned something to me about a conversation that you had with another professional racer. And, if you wouldn't mind, elaborating a little bit on that conversation you had about being at Daytona.
Okay. Well, obviously I'm real hard on myself. and I second guessed myself and things like that. And I guess I think people were like, "What's this old guy trying to prove?" or anything like that. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I'm doing this because this has been a dream of mine to be a pro racer. I might not be at the level that I want to be at, or like the guys that I'm racing with are, but I'm doing my best with what I have. But all the guys have been great. They really have. But last year at Daytona in 2023, Chad was walking through the pits, and I was sitting there working on the front end four-wheeler, and he stops and was talking. And, you know, we're just talking about racing and everything. I told him, I said, I appreciate, you know, how good you guys have been to me. He said, why wouldn't we be? He said, you're one of us. I said, well, you know, sometimes I feel like I don't belong. And he said, you can't feel that way. And I said, I've realized that. I said, I've had to look, even though I look down the line and I see Joel Hetrick, Chad Wienen, Jeffrey, Nick, Wesley, all those guys. I'm looking down the line and I'm thinking, what am I doing? You know, I can't think, what am I doing with these guys? I got to think, even though I probably can't unless something happens, I can beat these guys, at least get a whole shot or something. And he said, you have to have that mentality. And that meant a lot to me for him to say that and give me his support. And, you know, Joel's done it. Every one of them is, you know, they've been very, very supportive, and they understand what I'm trying to do. So, like I said, I can't thank them enough for understanding.
So what do you think that says about the ATV industry in a whole?
Well, I do believe that the ATV industry, racers, everybody is a big family. You're going to have your fusses. You're going to have your quarrels with people. Like, you know, I was talking about the Layman's boys. Silas run me off track one day. And I went over after him, like, what'd you do that for? You know, we're obviously it's just, you know, but you're going to have those confrontations with each other and stuff. But I think it's people understand that race ATVs, that you must really, really love racing to race an ATV, because it takes, I mean, I'm not saying anything against dirt bike guys because they're great, but there's a passion that comes for ATV racing. I believe that there's something that is inside of a person that drives them to do this. It's not for the money. It's things, you know, it would be easier to do it if big contracts were still available and things like that. But we've got people doing it now that are putting everything they've got into it for a living. And I have so much respect for them for doing that. And, you know, I think they're just a big dysfunctional family sometimes. I think that's the way the ATV community is, from my coast to your coast, because I saw it this past weekend at Bragwell.
Elaborate on that for me.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to guys I never even knew. You know, here I'm going looking for something. Dustin Wimmer's coming over to my tent, checking out my axle spacers, because I guess they was trying to see how I set my spacers. I guess it'd been so long they didn't know, you know. And I go over and we're just chatting, you know, getting just mingling with these guys. I didn't get to talk with Corey or anybody like that, but just like every one of the older guys that came back that was there, and just fans. There was people there from Canada that I'm friends with online, and they come over, and it's just the ATV community. Everybody's they want to see each other do good, but at the same time they want to beat you as racers go. But like, even, I mean, it was just a big family event, I felt like.
Have you ever seen a crowd that big at an ATV race?
No, I hadn't seen one that long. Probably one of the biggest ones I'd ever seen was probably maybe at Bowling Green several years ago, probably around 08 or 09. Right. But other than that, I mean, I haven't seen one like that. I think he speculated maybe over 5,000 fans or spectators.
Yeah, I haven't beat up on Jeremy yet to get the exact number. I mean, the guy went through so much to put
Oh
this
yeah,
on that
yeah,
I did not want to bombard him the week after with questions. I'm going to let him come. Let's let the last race of the season go, and then get him back on the show and talk to him about how the event went and
yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah, he done great. I mean, if there was issues pulling it off, he didn't show. I think I think everything went great.
Well, we went up to the trailer on Saturday, close to the end, and he was in there doing some paperwork, and he asked, "Well, hey, can we do it later or tomorrow?" And I go, "Well, my car is sitting out here running. I'm leaving after I talk to you."
Yeah,
And we've been at this for 15 hours today,
yeah,
and my crew was done, and
yeah.
well, my crew being my daughter, and she was 100% over ATV racing.
Well, you said that. My wife did the pit quad race later that night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, she did it. She ran her mouth that she's going to do the pit quad mechanics pit quad race, and she was going to do it last year, and we didn't get to go, but she did it this year. So I know you're 15 hour day. I think we were from about 5:30 to about 10 o'clock that night. So
Well, we left before that, and I wish we would have had more time to stay,
yeah,
but we had work schedules to
yeah,
contend with, and just the overwhelming amount of uh walking and talking, and somebody called me a social butterfly there, and she said, "No, you're not a social butterfly. You know everyone." It's not that I know everybody. I just love talking ATVs.
yeah. I'm right there with you. If you put, I mean, I think as you get older, I used to be real reserved and quiet uh, when I was younger. And I think as you get older, you just kind of realize, hey, they're a person just like me. I'll go up and talk to them, and you just, and then especially if it's somebody that you got things in common with, if it's, especially ATV racing, or, you're just going to go up and just talk with them all day and stuff. So,
Yep. I've never been reserved. Wild reserve has never been in my forte. That's not part of my toolbox, but
yeah,
uh, I wasn't a social guy, like talking to people that I didn't know. I was, you get it. That comes with, customer service, always being on
yeah,
the phone.
yeah.
Yeah, I told this story on the Sunday show yesterday. I had a customer call and bought a part from me, and he said he was going to the race, and I told him I was going to the race. And I said, "Hey, I hope to see you there." And I did a man on the street video with the guy. I didn't even know it was him until it was all over. And then we realized who each other was, and things like that made it even better for me.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I think it does. But I bought my first Vortex off you all.
Right. We've been doing
So,
it a long, long time.
yeah, yeah. And it's just, well, like you remembering little things from our conversation at Briarcliff. You
Right.
talked to 100 people that day. So
At minimum.
yeah,
At minimum.
yeah. You probably said, yeah. I was being generous. You probably talked to 500 people that day.
I talk to a lot of people, and I remember most all of it.
Yeah,
Everybody leaves an impression on you, and I would have to say that event, I even, got to talk when I was talking to you. I spoke with your wife briefly,
mm-hmm.
and I appreciated the fact, of her boldness to come out and say, "Yes, I did correct you," and I appreciate that, because
Yeah,
I didn't pay close enough attention, and I didn't do my due diligence. And the fact that she was there to say, "Hey, this is what's really going on,"
yeah.
was great. And any time that I do make a mistake like that, I want somebody to come out and tell me, "Hey, you're not paying attention. You need to fix this."
Well, I remember the episode. It was
Right.
the episode with Dane on it,
Yeah.
Molander, and
Yep.
he was. Y'all were talking about the LTR, and just before, I think it was just before he told you that I had been racing one. That's when she sent you the message.
Right.
And I got cracked up. And she said, yeah, she said, she said, he needs to know. And I was like, great. But Dane, I remember Dane saying that and stuff too. But, the LTR. I get a lot of questions about that.
Why? It's a great machine.
I know. And I think a lot of it is because I think people think that there's not parts available for them. I built an all new motor last year. First, I ran my 09 motor all the way up till last year. The cases, I obviously swapped out jugs and stuff, but same head, same cases. And I was able to buy all new motor this year. With the exception, I reused one or two shafts for the transmission. And I get the updated transmission that fixed the notorious third gear issue from a place in Australia, because the LTR was made and sold overseas as a 2011 model with an updated transmission. And I can go online right now and I can buy just about any OEM part I need for it.
Really?
Yep. So parts are still out there.
Because I've been told by a couple big guys in the industry, the reason they are cutting back on it is because they can't get the parts.
I think it's maybe looking in the right places and stuff. I know like a lot of I'm trying to think of what business it is that's copied the spindle.
Rocket copied it?
Yeah, yeah.
There's another company out there that's done it.
Yeah.
And there could be a third, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. But there's a lot of, there's still, I'm going to buy a new frame for this year for 2025. I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and put a new frame.
Is your frame broke?
No, it's not broke.
Okay.
But I essentially would love for the quad to be almost brand new for 2025.
Racing
but yeah,
2009 in 2025.
Yeah.
How does the factory only or the OEM only rule affect you? Is there an expiration date on how old they can be?
As of right now, I have not read anything. It had to be a production quad. So as far as I know, there is not an expiration date right now. If that was the case, it'd be all Yamahas, because Honda's been out since 14.
Right.
So if it, I think the dirt box is like a 2-year rule, isn't it? Something like that.
Don't even know. I don't even pay attention to the dirt box stuff. I pay attention to the riders, but I don't pay attention to the rules because for me, it's not the same. I mean, I'm just watching it and enjoying it as a fan and reporting on the things that I like to talk about. Mainly because I'm not in that circle as much as I am with the ATVs. So if 2025 is your last season on the pro line, what is 2026 or the time after hold for you in the ATV world?
I say, my wife says I'll be walking up to the line on a walker. I don't, that's what I'm sure we'll still go participate in some of the events. We've made so many friends through doing this, and so obviously I don't do the full schedule. I do an abbreviated schedule. There is a couple of the tracks that we just don't go to just for certain reasons, but so possibly I'm looking at maybe 6-7 rounds next year to do. Plus I'm off June and July, so it gives me a little bit more time and stuff. That's the reason I'd love for the schedule to start later in the year and run later in the year. Where I'm at gives me more time to practice, get more shape, things like that. That's what I lack is seat time.
whether winter lasts quite longer, or
It's
school run over?
no, it's not really school because, like I said, I have a small track down here I can ride on. It's the thing about it is here is just the weather. If it where my track is, if it rains in the wintertime, let's say it's 40, 50 degrees, if it rains, it's going to stay wet for days and days and days and days. But this year, I think we've talked about it, that I'm going after Loretta's. I've never been to Loretta's either. It's 5.5 hours from me. But after Loretta's, I think I'm going to take a little time off, just away from the ATV, still do the conditioning thing. But I've been so focused over the years of just trying to stay ATV minded, even after the season was over. And I think it kind of burnt me out leading up to the upcoming season. So I'm going to, after Loretta, we're going to take a little time away from ATVs and then try to get back into that probably around, for me, I need to get back into it probably around November. And I will try to travel some this winter, travel south some to hit some tracks to where I can ride more and be more comfortable come first race of the season.
So have you thought about, getting involved with a team and doing it and helping a team out or anything like that after the so-called hanging up of the boot?
Well, I mean, as far as like a team, obviously I'd be willing to, help people out and stuff. I had a guy message me about doing a riding school in the fall somewhere in Alabama. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to stay involved in it, but to what level, that's to be determined. Because I'm almost one of these people that if I'm going to be involved in it, I have to be involved in it, on the active side of it, on the racing side of it. It'd be hard to be the spectator or the person there, but I think I can do it.
Marshall, let me tell you, I spent 30 some years of my life going to the races, participating, maybe not being the guy on the track, but I was always either the guy with the pit board or the wrenches in my hand. I did some racing myself. It will never get easy to stand on the sideline, but this race, this time, I went and enjoyed it immensely, watching and being a part of it that way and being a fan. So it can happen. I don't go to Supercross races because I don't like to be the fan.
I mean, you won't be down there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go to some of the West Coast stuff because I don't want to be a fan. I mean, I don't want to just go there and watch. I want to participate and be part of it. And it's difficult. It is. It's really difficult.
Right. I broke my wrist in 2012. First break. I was 35 years old, first time I broke a bone. And broke my wrist and had to mid-season. I was so looking forward to Muddy Creek National because we were going to do it. We were going to do a couple others that went out the window and stuff, and having to go over and watch and stuff. It was just like I wanted to be out there. So a friend of mine was there, and I just helped him. If he needed, I'd help him work on his quad what I could and things like that. So yeah, if I'm there, I'm going to be involved to some extent. Last year at Budds Creek, I cased not the big gulp, but the triple in the back. I just hit it wrong, and it drove it. I actually landed on my shifter and busted third gear. And hurt my back. It just drove it up, and it was hurting too bad, and I didn't have enough time really to change the motor. So I pitted for Dane that race, and that was enjoyable. I really enjoyed that. One of the biggest parts was, one of the funny parts is the second moto. We was both running the O-Team Suzuki Yoshimura head pipes and mid pipes. and they're about titanium, and they're bad to break up there near where they go in the motor. And I fixed mine. I use a thicker titanium on them, and his broke in the middle of a moto. And he pulls in, and I get up to my box trailer. I grab a head pipe. I come back down there, and I change it. And he lost about 3 laps. So I enjoyed that. But you know, it can be rewarding to be there and not be physically racing, but be part of it at the same time.
That's pretty awesome stuff. I want to see what you're going to do with the future and being involved. You know, it's pretty awesome to see a guy that's 49 years old continuing his dream. Some people may call you crazy. Some people will say whatever. I agree with you. Go do you, brother, and don't worry about what anybody else says.
Oh yeah.
And if you're living your dream and you're loving it, then you should go do it and not worry about it at all.
You know, and that's you know, a few people here around where I live at, you know, they're like whatever, but most of the people, family, things like that. I got a cousin. She's like, you inspired me, you know, and she's not even in the racing. She said, you inspired me to just keep doing what I wanted to do and stuff like that. And I've had people, you know, message me about, you know, what I'm doing and, you know, just telling me how much it inspires them and stuff, even though they may not never go pro, just to continue doing what they love to do. If it's racing, continue to race. If it's mountain biking, do it. It's whatever it is your passion is. Your age is, you know, don't let it limit you. You know, push yourself and stuff. And that to me, that's very important. Is just continue to enjoy life. We're only here for a little while, so we need to enjoy it while we're here and do the things we love to do.
The team here at ATV-TALK would love your feedback. Please email it.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.